dear mother at the age of 89. May God accept her repose in heaven. Notice to senators to submit compendium of affected federal roads and erosion sites in their various senatorial districts. The senators may recall that the Senate at its sitting on Wednesday, 19 July 2023, resolved to constitute an ad hoc committee to come up with a compendium of all the affected federal roads and erosion sites across the country, particularly in their various senatorial districts, amongst others. Consequently, the ad hoc committee is using this medium to remind distinguished senators who have not forwarded their submissions to the ad hoc committee to do so in good time, as the committee has since commenced legislative work on the various submissions so far received. Senators are requested to make their submissions on a step-by-step basis as follows. You state the state, the senatorial district, name and location of routes, name and location of erosion sites, any other relevant details. Your submissions should be made to the clerk of the ad hoc committee in room 4.1, Senate Wing, White House. While anticipating your quick response to enable it commence its assignment, please accept the committee's best regards. This is signed by the chairman, distinguished leader, Senator Yahya Abdullahi, PhD, OON, CON, chairman of the Senate Ad hoc Committee. As point of order, Senator Abu.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I am coming under a constitutional order, laws of the Federation of Nigeria establishing the Central Bank of Nigeria. I am coming under Section 11, subsection 4 of Central Bank Act. I read, Mr. President, with your permission.
Please read. Your mic. You are reading the constitutional provision, right?
Yes.
Section 11, subsection 4?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Laws of the Federation of Nigeria. That is not a constitution. That is not a constitution. You are reading the laws of the Federation of Nigeria. Did you see the provisions relating to Central Bank of Nigeria?
Yes, sir.
So quote the relevant law and quote the relevant section and read.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I am reading CBN Act, culled from Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, number 2, Laws of Federation, number 1, Section 11, subsection 4. If the governor, any deputy governor, or director of the bank dies, resigns, or otherwise vacates his office before the expiry of the term for which he has been appointed, there will be appointed a fit and proper person to take his place on the board for the unexpired period of the term of appointment in the first instance, if the vacancy, that is for the above. Mr. President, you may recall last week, Mr. President forwarded nominations of the Central Bank and the Deputy Central Bank of Nigeria, which we screened here. For the purpose of clarity, Mr. President, all the 5 that we screened and affirmed and confirmed last week, their appointment actually was because there was resignation in the existing offices. That means, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, that the appointment or the conference that will be made is for them to finish their unexpired term according to the laws of the Federation. Let me say this. The former governor of Central Bank was first nominated on the 4th June 2024 and completed his first term, 2014, I mean. And the second tenure started on the 3rd of June 2019. Mr. President, by this appointment, he has 9 months to finish his tenure before he resigned. And so also, Mr. President, Folashadin Shanobi, who took over from him as acting Central Bank governor, assumed deputy governorship position on the 17/10/2018, and her tenure should expire on 16th October 2023. That means, Mr. President, going by our laws, in 26 days, if Mr. President decides that the person that filled that position should continue in that office, in 26 days, the person should come back before the Senate. This is because, Mr. President, Central Bank is a very, very important position, important institution. The international community are looking at us. If we cannot follow the rules that we set for ourselves, nobody will respect us. Thank you, Mr. President. That is my own observation. Thank you.
Well, your observation is noted, and in reality, he is not only the CBN governor, it affects the deputy governors also. They have various terms. So one of them you say will come before us in 26 days, and another one I know will come in 7 months, another one will come in 1.5 years or thereabout. But the observation is noted by provision of that act. Yes.
I come under, thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Asuko Ekpeyon, Cross River South. I come under Order 41 and 51. Order 41, the matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. Order 51, notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present. It is a matter of urgent public importance, Mr. President.
It's noted to be brought up tomorrow. Yes, Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators,
Leader, just before you go, the Senator Asukwa, you were trying to raise a motion of urgent national importance.
Yes, Mr. President.
So, did you give us the subject matter? Can you summarize it again? Sorry.
It is the urgent need to ensure compliance with the provisions of the Compulsory Treatment and Care of Victims of Gunshots Act 2017. It is in relation with the young lady that was attacked and died while waiting for medical treatment at General.
Okay, noted. Recall that you had discussed this matter with me yesterday. And it was about a very terrible incident of a child that was neglected outside, is it my General Hospital, and they refused to treat the child, and the child bled to death. on the ground that they were looking for a police report. So, well, I think it's something the Senate must have a holistic discussion on. And so we refer the matter to the next legislative date. Yes, it should come by way of substantive motion. Leader of the Senate.
Well, Mr. President, very distinguished senators, not only because of time, but also because our colleagues have different committee meetings slated for this afternoon, I will be moving that we step down all the other business and orders of the day on the order paper, with the exception of the first order of the day, which is the motion for the amendment of the standing orders of the Senate pursuant to Order 109 of the Senate Standing Order 2022 as amended. Mr. President, I so move.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that we step down all other matters on the order paper except for the first item on the order paper. I so second, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we step down all the other items on the order paper except the amendment to the standing orders and rules of the chambers. Those who are in support of the motion so move and seconded say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators, I stand to move for the amendment of the standing orders of the Senate pursuant to Order 109 of the Senate Standing Orders 2022 as amended. The Senate recall that the Senate Standing Rule was amended on Saturday, the 5th of August 2023 to create new committees and other sundry amendments. Aware that there are a number of issues that require further amendments to provide for the creation of additional committees of the Senate in response to emerging developments that will enhance rules of procedure for a sound legislative practice. Aware that these developments have made it imperative to further amend the standing orders of the Senate 2022 as amended, occasioned by the creation of additional Senate standing committees, and to have their functions and jurisdiction reflected in the standing orders of the Senate. Further aware that the amendments have been circulated to senators in accordance with Order 109, Rule 2 of the Senate Standing Orders, accordingly resolves to 1. Urge the Senate to consider and approve as it deems fit the proposed amendments. 2. Enter into the Committee of the Whole to consider the proposed amendment. 3. Approve the proposed amendment as contained therein. And 4. Direct the Rules and Business Committee to reprint the Senate Standing Orders with the new amendment. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I so move.
The Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the Senate Leader. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those who are in support of the motion say aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. The Leader of the Senate.
because I will start looking for it again. I will.
The leader of the Senate, please proceed and conclude on the amendment so that we can go into committee of the whole.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, there was an omission on the prayers of the motion, and it was important to add that. So the last prayer will be item 5. Well, item 4, and what is item 5 now will become, what is item 4 now will become item 5 on the motion. So item 4 will now read that the Senate amend Rule 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, and so 4 to clearly state that a senator vying for the office of the Senate President must have served at least one term in the Senate as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So that was what was omitted, and I thought I needed to put that in. I so move, sir. Yeah, Senate President and Deputy Senate President. Yeah.
Well, the amendment having been read, it's the minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion on the amendment by the leader of the Senate. I so second.
Colleagues, the amendment has been read by the leader of the Senate and seconded by the minority leader. Those who are in support of this amendment say aye. Aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate, you may move now for a closed session, for a closed committee of the whole. Move a motion for.
No, sir. What I would have been doing now is to move a motion for adjournment, but because it's past 2, that will come from you. That will come from you, sir. We are done.
We are done that. We are done that. It's one Senate. So that's why we are sitting. Officially,
no.
Officially, we are done that. Yeah. So, adjourn the. No. Deputy Senate President. We have to go to, yes.
Well, Mr. President, we recognize that there is a need for a clause-by-clause consideration of this rule amendment proposal. In that way, may I then move that the Senate revert to a committee of the whole so that we can do the clause-by-clause consideration of the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion moved by leader of the Senate that the Senate do resolve to committee of the whole to consider clause-by-clause amendment of the amendment. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, a motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate do resolve into committee of the whole to undertake clause-by-clause consideration of the amendment of the proposed amendment to our standing orders. Those who are in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, amendment to the standing rules to accommodate new committees. Amendment 1, those in favor of Amendment 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Amendment 2, Federal Capital Territory Area Council. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Amendment aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Amendment 5. Those in support of Amendment 5 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Amendment 6. Those in support of Amendment 6, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Amendment 7, yes. 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 Or sit and go.
Another exploration. Otherwise, there will be conflict, between the committee 6 on area 6 and committee 7. So the better word instead of exploration here will be inspection of mines and mine safety, while this one will be exploration of minerals and extraction and quarry. Then they are separate from one another. Otherwise, they will end up doing the same thing, and there will be a lot of conflict, which is unnecessary. This one will be inspection of mines and mine safety, which is to inspect mines to make sure that things are going on fine. But this one will be concerned with exploration of minerals, quarries, and several other things. So they are separate from the two of them. Otherwise, they will both be doing exploration, and there will be a lot of conflict between the two. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Osita.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think that his suggestion does not solve the problem. Item 7 is supposed to be Committee on Steel Development, because one of the reasons why this is split is because you have two ministers. If you continue to keep it as mines and steel, there will still be conflict. So first of all, it's supposed to be Committee on Steel Development, so that it can report to the Committee on Steel alone. Then the issue of exploration of mines and mine safety is supposed to go to item 6. It's conflicting. I've done a proper study in this sector, so this cannot work the way it is. Yes. Thank you, Mr. President.
For clarity, what is the amendment now?
Then item mines and mine safety is supposed to go to item 6. Then item A is supposed to be Ministry of Steel Development only. Yeah, because we are now combining two ministries in this, so it will bring confusion. Steel development, so it sticks to the already been shared in the executive. Mines will go to 6. Solid minerals.
It's very straightforward.
I think this is very straightforward. I've done a proper study, so you can't speak. Anybody who is not able to speak on this cannot speak on this. Yes. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, distinguished Senator Ositango, can you put it in a motion so that we understand and let somebody second it so I can put the question?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move a motion that Amendment 7 should read Committee on Steel Development. That is 1. 2, I further move that 7A
The Distinguished Senator Ositango has moved that Amendment 7 should read Committee on Steel Development. Any seconder? Yes. Chocho. Oh, sorry, Senator Isa Jibril.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I am Isa Jibrin, representing Kogi East. I wish to second the motion ably moved by Senator Osita, in line with the clear-cut definition of the ministries, as spelled out by Mr. President of Nigeria. I so second, sir.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those who are in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Secretariat, please note.
Thank you again, Mr. President. I further move a motion that Amendment 7A should read Federal Ministry of Steel Development, and 7B, exploration of mines and mine safety, should be moved to Amendment 6. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, a further amendment moved by Senator Ositangu and seconded by Senator Karimi. Those who are in support of the amendment say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So, Amendment 8. Amendment 8. Okay. Senator Izunaso.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Osita Izunaso. I represent Imo West. In line with the previous amendment just passed, you will recall that there's nothing like Ministry of Culture and Tourism any longer. What we have now is Ministry of Culture and Creative Arts and Ministry of Tourism. So Amendment 8A should be Ministry of Tourism, while we take culture back to 9 to read Ministry of Culture and Creative Arts. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, Senator Abu.
In further to the fact that there's no culture and tourism as a ministry, we only have Ministry of Tourism. There's no ministry, there's an omission here. It should read, even though it's in 9, but it's also up to the 8 because they are together. It should read, it's read Ministry of Culture, Art, and Creative Economy. So art is omitted. Culture, art, and creative economy. And as the SP Emeritus. Oh, there's a motion. Oh, yes, please. It should have to be seconded or otherwise. Thank you.
The seconder to Izunaso's motion, Senator Asukwa.
Senator Asukwa Ekpeyon, Cross River South. I hereby rise to second the motion as put forward by Senator Izunaso.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those who are in support of the amendment say aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. Secretariat, note. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's called Ministry of Art, Culture, and Creative Economy. So art comes before culture, then creative economy. And also, E, component of number 8, National Commission for Museums and Monuments. It is currently domiciled in the Ministry of Arts, Culture, and Creative Economy, so that we will not take something from Ministry of Gas and take it to Ministry of Petroleum. Yes, so the motion that I put is that E shall be deleted and added to E of the 9. E shall be deleted here. Thank you.
Senator Owe?
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Victor Ume, OFR. I represent Anambra Central Senatorial District. I do not agree with what Senator Abbo said about National Commission for Museums and Monuments to be transferred to Art, Culture, and Creative Economy. Tourism is about monuments and museums that people will come and visit. That's the motion I'm opposing now. I'm opposing your motion. You've moved the motion. Oh, seconding. Okay. Okay, I'm opposing it. After, I will oppose it.
My name is Senator Emmanuel Memgao Dendi. I represent Benue Northeast Senatorial District. I stand to second my friend. The motion has moved by my friend Senator Abbo. I so second.
Just before I put the question, Ministry of Tourism. Then we have National Commission for Museums and Monuments. Then you have Ministry of Culture, no, Ministry of Culture, Arts, and Creative Economy. Now, arts and culture, I think, I don't know yet, although there is a motion on ground, that National Commission for Museum and Monument could be oversighted by the two committees. Because culture and arts, and you remove museums and monuments, that's the only confusion. But so I don't know, let me invite distinguished Senator Ashiru to, you said you were going to amend what has just been moved. Okay. The motion has been moved and seconded. Those who are in support of the motion say aye. Aye. And those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. Amendment number 10. Those who are in favor of Amendment 10 say aye. Those who are against say nay. No, let him read 10. No, let's be clear about 10, please. Senator Bamidele, please, can you read 10 again? On my own, Amendment 10 is here.
Yeah. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the 10th amendment is that the Senate amend Rule 3, Sub 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4 to clearly state that a senator vying for the office of the Senate President must have served at least one term in the Senate. And I'll take it again. The Senate amend Rule 3, sub 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4 to clearly state that a senator vying for the office of the President of Senate and Deputy President of Senate must have served at least one term in the Senate as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And this is to make our rule consistent with what it was before and what it is in the House of Representatives.
Okay, so that Amendment 10. Those who are in support of Amendment 10 say aye. Those who are against say nay. Okay, the ayes have it. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate revert to our plenary to enable the chairman report progress. I so move.
Thank you, Mr. President. I second the motion that the Senate reverts to plenary to enable the chairman to report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those who are in support of the motion that this hallowed chamber do revert to plenary to report progress. Those who are in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report on the amendment of the Senate Standing Order 2022 as amended and approved as follows. Recommendations 1 to 5 as recommended. Recommendations 6 to 9 as amended. Recommendations 10 as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Okay. The final announcements. Let me invite the chairman of Labor and Productivity to just use a few minutes to brief us. Distinguished Senator Plan.
The President of the Senate, my dear colleagues, I am Senator Diket Plang, Senator representing Plateau Central's Senatorial District. I have the pleasure to bring before us, luckily, to the glory of God, the the NLC and trade unions and government met as colleagues that we've been so concerned about these situations, and particularly the Senate leadership that have been meeting the various groups one way or the other, and we were able to come to a resolution. I felt that colleagues, we need to discuss and appreciate the situation with the executive part of this government for another third to understand the feelings of the executive and also the ability of the president or
Chairman of Labour, the Trade Union Congress and the Nigerian Labour Congress for their understanding of the precarious situation that we are in. And I also want to commend the federal government for the proactive steps taken to avert the strike action that was earlier proposed for either today or yesterday. And to say that, yes, indeed, the understanding will help to stabilize the economy and also help us to attract foreign direct investment, because no government can actually do well in an era of strife. So I commend the unions, and I also commend the federal government team, and I commend the Committee on Labor. I want to note that the senators and House of Rep members are also workers. So as you have added 35,000 to all workers, I believe that they are also workers. Distinguished colleagues, we have correspondence from Mr. President. Distinguished Senate President and distinguished members, request for confirmation of ministerial nominees. In compliance with the provision of Section 147, Sub 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, as amended, I am pleased to forward to the Senate 3 nominees: Dr. Jamila Bio Ibrahim, Balarebe Abbas Lawal, and Mr. Ayodele Olawande for confirmation as ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. While I hope we'll receive the usual expeditious consideration of the Senate, please accept, distinguished Senate President and distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest regards. Yours sincerely. This is signed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Commander-in-Chief, Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is hereby referred to. Distinguished colleagues, notice of meeting of the Senate Committee on Gas will hold today at 3 p.m. immediately after this plenary in meeting room 204. This is signed by distinguished Jaribe, Chairman. Distinguished colleagues, having exhausted all the